What is up, guys? EvilDuosArm here today, and today I have for you a video where we're going to be looking at the upcoming system changes and cost reductions associated with the Warden patch that is releasing on September 12th. So the big changes we have here are a reduction to the upgrade costs of weapons, as well as a complete gem system overhaul, and then we have a couple more like scattered in like cool changes that are coming, so we'll get to those as well. But the big ones are your weapon upgrade changes and your gem changes. So we're going to start with the weapon upgrade changes first. So to do that, we're going to open up the I menu, Control I, to bring up our weapon path. So if we look through the weapon path, every single tier of the legendary weapon, so all the way from Baleful Seraph Stage 1, all the way up to Grand Celestial, so every single tier in the game, including PvP, including PvE, everything that's legendary, is getting a cost reduction of about 10% across the board. This cost is basically saying if you were to buy every single material off of the marketplace. However, in reality, this is going to feel like a lot larger of a reduction in cost because of the way that the materials are being redistributed. So every single weapon tier, or just about every single weapon tier, is having the cost shifted away from Moonstones and Elysians and moved on to Sacred Crystals and Soulstone Crystals. So Sacred Crystals, if you go ahead and look at your inventory, you probably have like 1,500 of them sitting in your bank doing absolutely nothing because there's so little to do with them. So you're going to be able to take away some of the Elysian and Moonstone cost and replace it with the Sacred Crystals. Now, some tiers of the weapon are receiving an increase in Moonstone Crystals to compensate for this, but it still is a cheaper overall cost because of the shifting to Sacred Crystals and Soulstone Crystals. I'm not going to go through every single tier, but like I said, it seems to be about a 10% reduction across the board. Also, you're going to be noticing a reduction in the amount of premium transformation stones. So the Aransu tier has actually been lowered by 11 premium transformation stones. The Grand Celestial has been lowered by 2 premium transformation stones. So yeah, overall, huge cost reductions. If you want to see this cost reductions, I went ahead and made a copy of the Blade and Soul sheet. So I'll go ahead and tab to that right now. So this sheet was released by Blade and Soul. You can actually go ahead and look at it on their forum topic, which the link to that will be in the description below as well. But I went ahead and made a copy of it and added some columns that summate the values at the bottom below. So if you go ahead and look at these columns, it basically shows you the difference between before and after for the Baleful Seraph, or the Raven, or the Aransu, or the Grand Celestial. You can just copy the lines and put it into your own lines if you wanted to see the PvP weapons or whatever, the difference between the two. You can just copy the line of code and it will go ahead and do the math for you, which is pretty cool. You'll be able to see if it see the actual reductions in costs. So like, for example, you can see right here on the Raven weapon, we have an increase in the number of Moonstone Crystals, but we also have a major decrease in the cost of Elysians, or the number of Elysians, which in turn is being offset by the Sacred Crystals and Soulstone Crystals, and it basically works out to being about 2,000 gold cheaper as far as materials go, so that is pretty cool. Anyway, so as you can see, the shifting is happening, so a nice little system change there. One thing to note, it is actually going to be cheaper once again to go back to Baleful Seraph Stage 12 and then jump over to Raven if you plan on going Raven. So if you look at the stages here for the stages 10, 11, and 12 of the Baleful and Seraph weapons, they have a much lower Moonstone cost and Elysian cost when compared to the Raven stages 1, 2, and 3. Of the Raven weapon, so we can see they have the higher Moonstone and Elysian Crystal cost. So it makes more sense to stay all the way through Stage 12 on Baleful Seraph and then transfer to Raven. Note that if you plan on going to Aransu as fast as possible, it was told to me that it is actually faster to go through the Dawnforge Riftwalk path, so upgrade to that Stage 3. And then from Stage 3, work your way through the Dawnforge Riftwalk, and then back over to the Aransu 3 stage. So something to consider if you do have all of your materials saved up. If you are a normal player, though, or if you're not a Destroyer, Earth Destroyer, I would definitely still recommend going to Raven tier and just upgrading through that, because you will see a more immediate stat boost. So those are the changes to weapons. As I said, links in the description below if you want to read through that chart and see all the different cost reductions or figure out what you're going to be needing and all of that good stuff. The next thing we're going to talk about is going to be the changes to gems. So gems, with gems, what they're changing is going to be that you're going to trade in all of your gems that you currently have, and in exchange for those gems, you're going to get the same exact gem back, plus some Hongmoon gem powders. So that's a pretty darn cool deal. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to get about half of the gem powders it would take to upgrade to that next tier. So for example, you see the heptagonal gem that I have up here. It would cost 16 gem powders to go ahead and upgrade 6 hexagonals into the heptagonal. So what they're going to do is you're going to trade in your heptagonal diamond, if you have a heptagonal whatever. You'll trade it in, you'll get another heptagonal gem instead, and you'll also get 8 gem powders in exchange. So those 8 gem powders you can go ahead and use to craft more hexagonal gems, which then you can use to make a heptagonal gem. So basically it's going to allow people to progress their gems a lot quicker. The cost of this gem upgrades are being reduced as well, so it's a pretty cool system. A thing of note is it is not worth salvaging your gems from now. Make sure you save your gems. You do not want to get rid of them from now, because you're going to get the same gem back as well as bonus Hongmoon gem powder, so it's a pretty cool deal. So that's how the gems are going to be impacted for normal players or the average player. Now if you're a super high geared player, high tiered player with your gilded triangular gems, what you can actually do now is you can fuse gilded triangular gems together to create a Dyad Gem. So the cool thing about these Dyad Gems is that by fusing them together, it allows you to basically have 2 or 3 of the same gem. So for example, that they use in the description here is that if you have a Ruby and you Sapphire and you fuse them together, you can have a Ruby Sapphire Dyad Gem, and then you can also equip a Ruby and a Sapphire regular Gilded Triangular Gem. So you can have multiple repeats of the same sorts of gems to give you the same sorts of bonuses. Another thing that you're changing with Gilded Triangulars is that you can actually get bonus stats. So the Ruby will give you Piercing of 270, the Citron will give you Critical of 270, the Amethyst will give you an Accuracy bonus of 270, the Sapphire Critical Defense, Peridot is Defense, the Emerald is a bonus 3500 HP, and the Aquamarine is another critical damage of 300, so the Gilded Triangulars give you bonus stats now as well. Another thing that is changing with the gems is the Hexagonal Garnett. So this Hexagonal Garnett, the boss attack power is just being changed to straight up attack power. So any level of Garnett is just going to be a straight attack power bonus. So that just keeps it in line with the regular gems. Pretty nice little change there. It actually helps people boost their AP a little bit and get into more parties. Additionally, that critical bonus that you see right there in the middle of the screen, the critical 300, is being changed to a critical damage bonus. So instead of critical percent chance, it increases the percent damage you do. It's a bit lower of a number there, so it'll be 120 it scales at the hexagonal, 225 at the heptagonal, 280 at the octagonal, and then if you get a gilded triangular, it is going to be 335. Additionally, they are adding a PvP Garnet. So the PvP Garnet is attack power changing, so once again, the attack powers are changed to the attack power. And then instead of critical damage, it is critical defense. So you can boost your player's critical defense like that. So interesting little change there as well for PvP-orientated players. So after gems, we basically just have some more system updates. Nothing really too crazy here, although some of these are pretty impressive, like these first 5 that I'm going to list off right now. So first one is Hive Queen Wings and Hive Queen Hearts. So these items can now be exchanged between accounts. So you can go ahead and send these over to your alts. So if you have a VT geared player already and you want to go ahead and gear up another character, you can go ahead and mail these Hive Queens items over to your characters, buy the Soul Shield pieces, upgrade the Uransu weapons. Fantastic little change right there. In addition to these Hive Queen items, you'll be able to trade the Rancor, Husk, and Barb between characters. So if you have an extra one of those laying around, go ahead and send it over to your alt and gear it up. Other items that are becoming bound to account that you can trade between characters are going to be your Sealed Scale Fragments, your Blood Pearls, and your Sea Glasses. So these will become tradable between characters, and you can go ahead and upgrade your other character stats and items and all that good stuff with these items. Nice that you won't have to farm it over and over on the lower geared players. You can farm it on your main high geared player and transfer it to the lower geared players to gear them. So a nice little change overall for alts there. Now the big one that's changing though, these huge, how many times can I say huge before you stop watching the video, is going to be the change to pets and souls. So the Hongmoon Pet Aura that I have right here, as well as the Hongmoon Energy, which is basically your soul, the stages 1 through 10 of that. So stages 1 through 10 of your pet and your soul, you can go ahead and trade between characters. They are becoming account bound. So if you have your new Warden class that you're going to be creating, you go ahead and mail over this Pet Aura to that character. Or if you want to get your old soul from an old event because you didn't finish upgrading it, you can go ahead and send it over to your new Warden character, to whatever class you want to send it over to give them a little gearing boost. It is a fantastic change. So I'll be able to send this pet over to my warrior class as soon as it comes out, and I'll be able to have a full-on, ready-to-go tank for the majority of the content in Blade and Soul, which is fantastic. I'm very excited about that, and yeah, great little change right there. And that is what you have to look forward to with the upcoming Warden update on September 12th. Just to quickly recap everything, if you are planning on upgrading your weapon, make sure you wait until after the Warden update. The cost reduction will be able to save you a lot of materials and items and money, so make sure you wait. Gems are being updated as well, so make sure you save your gems and you'll be able to exchange them for upgraded versions as well as increased materials, so you can go ahead and craft even more gems, even more higher tier gems, and make your character that much stronger. Temple of Illuvium items are becoming account bound, so you'll be able to trade them between characters and be able to go ahead and upgrade your character faster or your alt faster if you're trying to gear one of those. And finally, souls and pets, stages 1 through 10 will be able to transfer between characters, so you'll be able to send the lower tiered souls and pets to your alts and upgrade them a little bit faster. If you did like this video, make sure to like it, consider subscribing to the channel to stay updated on all the Blade and Soul news you need to know, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you at the next video. Peace.